So the stove goes up to 10. So I'm just going to put the stove on 9. And I'm going to let the pan get a bit warm. And the story about this pan is that it was originally seasoned in the oven. Don't do that. Just season it on the stove. And when you're seasoning on the stove, you can't season the sides because the heat won't go up the sides enough to... You can season the corners of the pan and maybe 3/4 of an inch above, 3/4 of an inch up the wall of the pan, which that's what this is for. So I season with this, and this is just a piece of cotton from a t-shirt. And this is how I spread the seasoning around the pan. Now, what you do is you just get the pan hot, and it heats up super fast. And this is the little bit of seasoning that I made. And so I'm going to give it a stir because it's got the iron powder in it. And so I give it a stir, and this is like how much you put in there. I mean, is that coming up on the screen? Because I was putting too much in there before. So all I did was, I've got the oil in here is only covering the stick about an inch. So the oil that sticks to the bottom inch of a popsicle stick, you do that a couple of times, and that is all the oil that you need. And I'll just try to see if that'll... Okay. Like hardly any at all. And so now what you do is rub it in there, and the reason why this is good is because it gets right down into the pan, so you're not burning your hands trying to wipe this stuff around. But this is good too because it just lets you put a couple of drops in there, and so you're not wasting oil. And when you have to put this iron powder in there, there's no point doing that work of putting the iron powder in there and then just using it, and then using the oil to just soak up a cloth. So that's another reason for just putting a few drops in the pan. So I'm getting this into the corners, and now I like to, what you want to do is create an even contact, and you swirl it from the edges to the center so that you're not breaking contact, and then you lift it to make sure you've got a smooth, even, super thin coat on there. Okay, so it's as absolutely thin as possible. Now I'm going to turn the fan on, and now so now the element is getting closer to its number 9 heat. And if you have a gas stove, you wouldn't have to put it on number 9. You could maybe put it on number 7. And yeah, so it looks like this element is starting to get a little bit red, and it starts to smoke right away. And just push it around a bit, just to make sure everything's getting hot all over the place. But it's not really necessary to stir it around, but that's what I do. But what you want to do is you want to let it smoke until the smoke is almost all gone. The reason why I'm seasoning this pan again is because I boiled some water in it, and I got distracted playing some chess, and my water had been evaporated, and this pan had been left sitting on the element, and what happened was the seasoning all got fried off on the bottom. So I have to season it again. I've given it 2 coats, 2 or 3 coats before I made this video, which is why it already had some seasoning on the bottom. And so that's why you want to let it smoke until the smoke is almost all gone. And you don't want to leave it on after the smoke is all gone, because that's when you have to start worrying about what happened when I was boiling that water, which is the seasoning will burn off if you leave it on heat without any water or food or anything in it, and it's on high heat. The seasoning will actually just burn right off. So it's kind of a dance to make sure you let this seasoning smoke long enough that it's set into the pan really good, but at the same time you're not leaving it on for too long that it's starting to get weak. Okay, so as soon as there's barely any smoke, you want to take it off. So this is actually the 4th coat. Basically, after 10 coats, you'll have a nice black, and it's already black, you can see. But after 10 coats, it'll be a good finish, and you'll be done. And it'll be pretty non-stick. It's not going to be as good as a Teflon non-stick frying pan, and eggs might still stick to it a bit, but it's as good as you can do.